Hey guys, Sean Bucci, surplusfundsriches.net. A lot of you guys know the drill. If somebody could let me know if you can hear and see me okay, that would be great. Chat is open. I've got puppy duty tonight, so I apologize for that. Chat is open. Please do not use the Q&A section. Please use the chat section. And again, if somebody could just let me know that you can hear and see me okay, that would be great. We've got some people coming in quickly, and that's fantastic. I'm going to also go over something really quick, guys. Let's see here. Yeah, chat is enabled. I'm late on getting the deals board updated. Again, the folks that have followed us in the past realize that we do updated deal boards in addition to reaching out to you when we get one under contract. Excuse me, but we also do deal boards. And that helps a lot, especially if some of you guys are changing email addresses or phone numbers. That helps a huge amount. So if you haven't already, you're definitely going to want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That'll be in your ebook. The link to that'll also be linked off of our website, surplusfundsriches.net. And you can also subscribe to our Facebook page. YouTube channel is Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. Facebook is Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. I'm going to say some names here real quick. A lot of you guys, it's private. So you're probably wondering, is this real? Are you actually reading my questions? I can see all of them. So I'm going to read your names. Steven, I can hear and see you. Hasha, hi Sean, can hear and see you fine. Patty, yes, audio and video are good. Pat, I hear you. Al, I can see and hear you. Dave, loud and clear. Brian, I can see and hear you. Pat, I hear you. Rick, I can hear and see you just fine. Pat, I hear you. Cheryl Williams, hey guys, looks and sound good. Sounds good. All right. Because I haven't gone over the deals board though recently, there'll be one up shortly, probably by the end of next week on YouTube and Facebook. I just wanted to cover some things here. I'm going to go back just a couple of weeks. Benjamin T, that was the Burgos. I think I already went over that one with you. That was about 26,000. By the way, guys, I'm going to have numbers on here that may be a little lower than a minimum amount that could be submitted for that particular program. That's because maybe we're working with an heir on that particular program or one of two deed holders. So it's going to change. And that's one of the reasons why we have the minimums that we do. So we can still work it. Even if, in some instances, even if we can't work with all the deed holders. It happens. So, all right, Benjamin, we went over that. Sal T. Sal's on a little bit of a tear here. 99,445. Garrett, and by the way, when I do the updates, the board updates, I'll actually list also the last name of the claimant. Garrett D. You're also having a good little run here. Garrett D. 25,900. David L. 33.5. Anthony W. 36.8. William V. 70K. Serena W. Serena's back in business. 21.8. That was an airship, I believe, situation with panning, Serena. Benjamin T. 72.9. Awesome. And another one for Sal. And guys, I kid you not, this is the last couple of weeks, and we've got 5 more. We're waiting on the paperwork to come back. So it's been a good little run already at the beginning of the year. This is a great time of the year for surplus funds. Last one I read was Cheryl. Gloria says, you look and sound great. Okay. Alan says, hola. Tom says, looks good. Tanika says, hi. Tanika from Florida. And Jesse, hi. This is Jesse. Hi, Jesse. Elsa says, hi, Sean. So glad to be on here. Okay. So, guys, any and all questions are fine. One of the things I want to stress, and you can start anytime you want, start asking questions. One of the things I want to stress as you're doing that, I really want to stress to everyone is don't wait on the webinars to ask support questions. We have built-in email-based support. Jeff typically gets back. He's got up to 3 business days, but he typically gets back in 1. So don't wait on these webinars. Get back. Use support as outlined in your ebook. It's email-based. The other thing is, please don't use support for non-application questions if you don't mind. We're really busy right now. We got a lot of stuff we're working. We're training new staff members too, adding new staff. We have a lot going on. So things like, well, hey, I noticed that in the past you dropped California off of panning and now it's back on there. Can you explain why? Because we did. we don't, what I'm trying to say is sometimes we just have to go, hey guys, let's just work the program. You know, you can work that state, work the state. It's cool. We had pulled it off for a minute because of the way there's a difference in the way in that particular program the foreclosing attorneys were handling surplus and we needed to take it off for a minute and figure that out. And we did. Elsa, hello, Sean. So glad to be on. Kieran, good evening. Eric, hello from Aurora. Christina, all good. Here we go. Alan, what do you use to put all required documents into one attachment? If you go to the support tab, Alan, that's on our website, and scroll down, you'll actually see where Jeff put in an example of how to do that. It's not hard to use. Me personally, I have Adobe Acrobat Pro, and I love that. But I have that because I'm also doing quick claim deeds from owners when we're flipping property, and I need to be able to. I need to have excellent character recognition from old documents, pulling the information off an old deed, and rewriting it into a quick claim deed. However, I mean, we just absolutely love that. Jeff uses that for everything too. But the example he's got on the support system, I believe, on the support tab, I believe is a freebie you can use to merge docs. Dave, what state tends to have your largest surplus claims? State, Dave, we looked the other day, and I believe we've had surplus come in and worked them on, I can't remember if it was 39 or 42 states, which is pretty outrageous. So all of them work. North Carolina will not give you a list. There's only one program that works with that. It's the panning for hidden surplus funds. The largest you're talking about dollar amount. Here's the weird thing, Dave. When we got in this, we thought, when we first got into this is a great question. First got into this, we thought, you know what, California's going to have the really high overages, right? Because they have the real estate just roller coaster out there, more so than most other places, although Florida's probably a close second, or at least was through the last 10 years or so. And we figured that would be it. I'm not kidding you. The average is pretty much the same state to state. No kidding. There's a lot of big ones everywhere. We pulled one out for over 350,000 in Pennsylvania not that long ago. We've done quite a few, over 100 in the Carolinas, North and South in the past. I mean, it's all over the place. Maryland, we've had some really big ones too. One thing we don't do, and you'll see this when you'll see the deal board, is when I do the deal board, I actually don't list the state where it is. I'll list the claimant's last name, just so people know who I'm talking about if they're the researcher on it, the partner. I'll list the claimant's last name and the researcher's name, first name and last initial, and I will not put the county and state on, because some areas you have to request lists, and if you didn't know you could request that, and you could be working somewhere else, and this person has a honey hole, so to speak, where they're really working it, I don't want to give that up to everybody else, because this guy worked a little harder to get a list that other people didn't put the time in to find. Pat, I know that we have to have opening bid minimum amounts. If I can't get from the sheriffs because they get it 2 days before the auctions, are there any suggestions? No. So Pat, I mean, it's really simple, and this is it's something you don't want to hear, but if we don't have an opening bid, when you're using an estimate type program, either stealth or panning for hidden, if we don't have an opening bid, how are we going to determine whether or not there's going to be surplus in stealth? How are we going to determine that? We have to know what the debt was and what the projected sales price was to come up with what the probable difference the surplus funds are. So no, I would move on, guys. 3,200 counties in the United States. Okay, I realize we don't work every single state, but 3,200 counties. Tax and mortgage overages are good. So keep looking around if you run into something like that. I've seen deed comments on the sales section of the property appraiser, such as deed is not valid, deed is disqualified. What does this mean? Is that deed invalid? Yes. It means exactly what it said. Deed is not valid. Now, if you run into that when you're researching debt with us and it's a deed on there, I would include it anyway, just so we have it, so that we don't run across it later and go, hey, did you see this? But if it's not a valid deed, it doesn't count. If it's disqualified, it doesn't count. Thank you for Thanks, you are rocking it, says Dave. You're welcome. Eric, regarding the stealth program, just a second. I'm seeing there's a Q&A. Somebody opened a Q&A. I know it's a Q&A webinar. I know. Please use chat, not Q&A. Regarding the stealth program on tax, on a lot of the county website, the minimum is shown 00 or 000. Can we not turn those files in? Eric? Part of what we're doing is we're trying to estimate surplus. That means we need to know the opening bid, which is the debt that's being foreclosed on, and we need to know what the probable sales price is, which we use Zillow, 70% of Zillow or something else, right? If we don't have the starting point, if we don't know the debt, we can't determine how much surplus is going to be there. It's a valid question. I'm not making fun of you, but absolutely not. Move on to another place if you're seeing zeros. Sean, I'm trying the stealth. What tip can you provide on low opening bid versus a very high value, most likely to redeem, right? I would say you're probably right, Elsa, but really one of the things we did by building in the 2 to 6 weeks before the foreclosure as that being your time period, that's extremely important, because if people are going to redeem, they redeem typically before the 6 week period. Guys, those of you on here that don't know what that means, they pay off the taxes or whatever the debt is to stop the sale. That's redemption. That's redeeming the property. But I wouldn't necessarily, throw it out, Elsa, you know what I mean? I'm working on one right now. Property's worth about 250. There's about 129 owed. And hopefully tomorrow I'm going to have her under contract. So, and that's a pretty big, that's a nice big difference. If we're right on value, we're looking at 100,000 plus surplus, and she's chomping at the bit for me to put this together. I just have a few other questions for her. But you're absolutely right, Elsa. I mean, let's face it. Look, if it's a $500,000 house, it's probably not going to sell at a tax sale over $8,000, right? Right? Somebody's got a $500,000 home. They're going to find a way to come up with 10 grand to save the property. Pat says, thank you. Kieran, are North Carolina and Florida the only states we should stay away from? It's not a matter of staying away from them, Kieran. I can't work North Carolina with stealth, and I'll tell you why. With North Carolina, part of stealth, if you guys have actually read the ebook through it, and I'm not saying you're not, but if you have, part of that is you're going to record a quitclaim deed prior to the sale. North Carolina will not allow me to do that without paying off the debt that's owed against it with a quitclaim deed. It's a new rule, came in about, well, it's not that rule, no, about a year and a half ago. And they won't allow me to do that. Well, I don't want to pay off, if it's a tax sale, for instance, with $15,000 on it, I don't want to pay that off in addition to giving the owner a chunk at the foreclosure. I don't want to be into it that deep. Right? I don't want to have to come up with that much money before I record the deed. And if I was to do that, I'd have to go in person in North Carolina, because I would have to have them review the deed prior to me paying off the taxes if it was a tax sale, because I do not want to pay the taxes off on a property that I don't own, which I would not own if there was a problem with, like the earlier question, disqualifying a deed. Never run into that. I have had to have something initial before, but never had any of the deeds we put in disqualified. But great question. Florida is the other one. I don't think, and Kieran, it's on your resources page what you can turn in. I don't think New Jersey is one we can work in. I don't think anybody should work New Jersey. I did a video on that. Go to our YouTube channel, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. New Jersey is going to crash and burn for surplus for a while because of this weird stuff they're putting in. It's called the Community Wealth Preservation Program. Governor Murphy, I think, put it into effect last year. Look that up. There's not going to be surplus because they're allowing people to buy it for opening bid if they're a nonprofit development corporation or if they're a relative. So you're going to see surplus really dry up. They're going to take that whole program out, trust me, in another year or two, because it goes against the constitutional ruling. But for now, it's going to be rough to work there. Jesse, I look up to you, Sean. I hope you can make money. God bless. Awesome. I can make money. God bless. Me too. Tanika, I haven't received my ebook through email as of yet. Tanika, send me an email. Go to the site, surplus file. By the way, there's a file download, guys, right in front of you. Click on that. Download that now. Download that file download if you haven't already, okay? Download that file download. Take a good look at that. And there should be a link to the website. There's a contact us there. there's a email address right in there. Tanika, send it out to me, and send me an email and say you didn't get it. I hope you paid. Check that you got a receipt from PayPal, or that check your credit card statement to make sure that it went through. That might have been the issue too. Tanika, as a researcher, what is the average turnaround time to close a transaction once the file is submitted to your team? I'm assuming that a lot of you guys here from the Stealth program, I would say you're probably looking at about 3 months, which is fast. Michael, hi Sean, with the Stealth, what happens if the owner agrees to transfer title with a quick claim and the upfront funds are sent to the former owner and the house does not sell at auction? I don't send the funds until the day of auction when I know that it's sold, Michael. Great question. Great question. That's the deal I make with them. I'm not giving them the money before the foreclosure happens. I'm giving it immediately while they're still in the home. Guys, most people don't have to get out of the home for at least a week or two after a foreclosure. They're not going to have a summary ejectment until that point. So they're happy to get the money at the foreclosure. Once I've confirmed that it's gone through, then I'll give them the money. But I'm recording the deed first. I'm recording the deed before I give them a dime. That's why we've got the time periods we've got. I am not going to send any money out without owning the property. It's going to be quick claim to me. But what's weird is what you're saying is what happens if it doesn't sell? I think I misunderstood your question. What happens if it doesn't sell at auction? I still own the property. If it doesn't sell at auction, I will sell it. And I'll work something out with the ex-owner. Probably let them live there for a couple of months for free. If they don't sabotage showings, I'll still give them some money. Oh my God, I'll still give them a fair amount for it, when I sell it. But that's a great question. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's a great question. If for some reason it did not sell and the owner was there, and this is one of the reasons why we have you guys give us screenshots of Google Street View, because we want to make sure it didn't burn down, right? It's going to actually sell at the auction. But I would make a different deal with the owner at that point. Even though I have the quick claim deed, and I probably wouldn't have to, I'd want to make it right. So I'd sell the property, let them stay there for a couple months, sell the property. As long as they didn't sabotage, let them stay in it while I'm trying to sell it. And I do it that way. Cheryl, with the deed not valid example, would we just turn in the prior deed that is valid, even though it may not be the same grantee as the person being foreclosed on? Thanks, guys. All right. We need to know who the owner is. You got a case name and you got deed holder. We need to know the most current deed holder. That's the people we have to do a deal with and get the quitclaim deed from. That's the short answer, Cheryl. If it's an invalid deed, Jeff, you could chime in here. He's moderating this in the background. I would say probably turn it in and just let us know, hey, there's an invalid deed included. I just wanted you to know that I saw it. You know what I mean? That's a great question. We're getting sidetracked. You're not going to see invalid deed. You just typically, if it's not valid or it's for some reason disqualified, it happens before it's actually recorded. So that's extremely rare that you're going to see that. Tim, in Stealth, if you find a loan modification agreement, do we list it as a mortgage? I think the file example actually had one of those in it. Jeff, if you want to chime in, that's great. A loan mod is you're going to be listing the initial mortgage to begin with. I think you might note it, but I'll ask Jeff to chime in on that one. That's a great question. Tim says, sorry, no problem. Alan, hi, Sean. Can you suggest how to learn what you are doing? I'm a newbie. Alan, I'm assuming you bought the ebook. Read it twice for comprehension. Look, this is what happens, guys. People get it and go, oh my God, I have to read. Forget it. It's an hour worth of read. Or you see all the concept building blocks and you think I have to memorize all. You don't. That's reference point. Get started. Read the book twice for comprehension. Start committing that stuff to memory, but don't worry about it at first, right? It's a reference point, okay? Also, Google is your friend, guys. But the other part of that, obviously, you have a link to a resource page with more video. But the big thing is to do the file example that Jeff did in there, okay? I understand that you can't go back in time and find that it's still listed up for sale, right, on his example, because it already went to auction. But plug that in to research debt and follow them along. step by step, and you're going to find you're going to learn this a lot faster. Kieran says, thank you. Fran says, hi, Sean. Tessa, hello, I'm new here. Can my first call. Can you briefly discuss what we need to do to get started with stealth deals? Can you also suggest at least two states we need to focus on to get started? Thank you. Just work whatever state you get a list from, as long as you've got on your resources page, which is linked from your ebook, you have a list, you have submission information. It tells you what states you can and cannot put in. Can you briefly discuss what we need to do to get started? So the ebook is a step-by-step. Get a list of upcoming foreclosure sales. Just do each step and you'll be great. You got to read it, Tessa. I can't give you a summary. You got to read it. It's the only way you're going to really learn this. It's a new skill set. Read it twice for comprehension, then watch the videos on the resources page. If you have questions after reading it twice for comprehension, after reading the resources page, please use support as outlined in your ebook. But if you do that file example and you read, you're going to be fine. I promise you. Fran, as the word gets out about the power of the stealth, will other surplus companies try to copy your process? That's always something that people will want to do. I'll tell you what's interesting, Fran. Let me give you a great example. Okay. We came out in 2023, January 23, with our Panic for Hidden Surplus Funds program, going after mortgage overages that nobody else can get a list for. About 22 plus states in the United States where the foreclosing attorney for mortgages in those states are also allowed to disperse the surplus. So they hold it. They never give it to the county. It's non-judicial sale. So they never put a list out. So in order to figure it out, you have to make your own list to kind of follow the process through, and which takes a little bit more time, a little bit more work. And there's little tricks and tips there. You got to be careful about what the opening bid was and some other things. It's a little more complicated than people would think. Not once you do it, but it's a little more complicated than people would think. And I do think there's a couple of companies that are copying us. Remember though, guys, we teach you how to do it on your own. We're training this stuff, right? So it's eventually going to get there. We love competition. But having said all that, what it's getting to is almost immediately you saw these lists for sale that were mortgage overage lists from these VAs, virtual assistants online, and they weren't taking the time to do it right. And the lists were just complete crap. So I think there were people out there that either bought our book and didn't follow the step-by-step and didn't take the time to do it right. Or there were people that saw, I think I could figure this out on my own, and bought these complete BS lists from VAs, and they're failing miserably. So I don't care about it. Here's the deal. With National Surplus, Premier 16, Panic for Hidden Surplus Funds, and Stealth, well, I'll get back to Stealth. We're giving people money after they sign their contract, good faith money up to 10% up to $10,000. Nobody else does that. And we're using attorneys in every instance. Nobody else does that. Okay. I'm not afraid of competition. When my staff calls and talks to people, they're blown away that we're using an attorney. They're blown away that we're telling them exactly where the money was and what created it. They've been through a foreclosure. They don't want to try to get this on their own. They realize there's going to be some stuff that comes up, and they want to work with a company that's completely upfront about how we do this. And they're loving the fact that they're going to get some money up front. Now they need the money. Stealth, they're getting the money immediately after the foreclosure as well. So I love competition. I love it when I can hear in the office when one of my crew members is on the phone, she goes, oh, you talked to somebody else? Oh, but you haven't signed with anybody? Yeah, well, here's our differences. We're going to get the deal. Even if the other people, we're going to give them a higher split, they're going to work with us because we're going to give them 10% up front, okay, within 10 business days after they sign our contract. And we're going to use an attorney, and we have an attorney liaison that they talk with. It's a different animal. Kieran, what is a typical closing rate when working with stealth surplus funds? Kieran, we just launched the new program. We beta tested it obviously prior. We've been through this before and done these deals. However, it's way too early to tell. It is. I'll tell you what's interesting though. Go to YouTube and look up our YouTube page, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. I did a video on conversion to tell you guys all the different variables that you can run into. People die. Okay, especially retirement states, can be as high as 20, 30% of what you're working are dead. That just happens. People die. That's a lot of reason why people go to foreclosure. In addition, and that's that's high because I'm talking about retirement states. But you've also got some people leave the country. You can't skip trace them in other countries. Some people won't pick the phone up regardless, or they live in a mom and dad's basement. There's no credit header that has their recent address on it. That's how skip tracing companies find them. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. Let's see here. Elsa, for the stealth, if the most recent Google Street pick is 2023 or 2022, is this still a go or should I skip it? Hey guys, you support to ask these kind of questions normally, but we didn't put a parameter as far as how old that is. As long as we've got something to go by, we're okay. We'll do a follow-up when we talk to the people. So whatever the most recent picture is, we're good with that on Street View. Somebody else asked that too, also. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll down a little bit. Back to the loan mod. Jeff is replying here. A loan modification is a modification or changing of terms of the existing mortgage loan. You can note that on the mortgage history page. You can note it right there. This is a loan mod. Okay. Alan says, thanks, Tim. If there is some piece of information that seems necessary to let you know about, where, how should we let you know that? For example, discrepancy in square footage among the various listing sources. Oh, hey, Tim, you're getting too deep, brother. I appreciate what you're doing, and you're trying to do a really good job, and I respect the snot out of that, but you're getting too deep. I don't care if the house is 1,000 square feet or 1,500 or whatever. The value on Zillow or whatever is going to be fairly close. If you want to list that on there, that's absolutely fine. You know, obviously, if it's something massive like a 5,000 square foot less versus 1,000, guys, don't go that deep. Don't do more work. Don't do any more work than you have to. So we're the trailblazers. Exciting. Yeah, Kieran, again, we've been down this path. We've known that this works and we've done it. So yeah, you're the first ones, guys, being taught this. We're also the first ones that taught people that if somebody, you can't find them or they had too much debt or they don't want to work with you, you can actually check instead of throwing the deal away. You can check to see, hey, did they go into bankruptcy? If they did, bankruptcy court has a priority claim to all the money. That's typically not recorded at the county. If you don't bring it up, it's a don't ask, don't tell. But if the people are being jerks and they want to work with you or they passed away or they have too much debt, bankruptcy court has priority. You can contact the bankruptcy court, let them know where the money is, and they'll pay you 25% just for telling them. That's called our surplus hybrid program. That's available in a number of bundles. So yes, you are the trailblazers. Sean, first, thank you for always answering our questions in real time. I'm super grateful for your professionalism and generosity. I have a quick question for you. I just bought the Stealth. In which scenario is the owner deed holder more likely to sign over the deed? In a tax deed sale foreclosure, in a mortgage foreclosure? Or is it too soon to know if the program is still new? It is too soon to know a little bit on that, Gloria, but I appreciate you asking me that. I don't think it's going to matter if it's a tax or a mortgage sale, frankly. They've run out of time. All right. They have been playing chicken with the county or the bank. They thought they were going to hit the lottery at the convenience store, or their brother was going to step up and bail them out or whatever, or they just had their head in the sand. And that's true for both tax and mortgage overages. Rather, tax and mortgage deals for Stealth is what I should say. Sorry. Q&A. These are Tanika. Linda, I just turned in a file where the son inherited the property and the official county's title search only showed his order determining homestead status from probate and the prior deed under his parents' deceased name. I also researched myself and no deed was found in the official records. Should I have added a note like you mentioned earlier tonight? Linda, that's a question. I'm going to have you ask the question privately aside from this. It sounds like you have something determining that the son, as a result of probate, was the last owner. I would make a note of that. Guys, we're at the end. I think Jeff has shut it down. Really good questions. I really appreciate it. For those of you guys that haven't come on board yet, the February sale will be the 7th through the 9th. And we've had already a lot of big interest in that. We'll probably be shutting that down early, similar to what we did January 1st, just because we need to limit the number of people coming on board. Guys, I appreciate it very much, you guys coming out tonight. And I hope you have, download the file example if you can. And I hope you have a great night.